Have you ever wanted to live in a castle? This small castle is then maybe not your best shot, even though the Borgos used to live here. The first mention of Maret Castle dates back to the 13th century, when it was still a small Romanesque fortress owned by the Maretsch family. This family was part of Bolzano's Borgois, though they would later be elevated to the nobility. Maret Castle is known for its massive stone walls, made of river rocks laid in horizontal layers. At that time, it was owned by the Maretsch family, who rose to nobility in the latter part of the 13th century. The castle is richly decorated with frescoes, which is common in Tyrolean castles. By the 15th century, the Römer family took ownership of the castle, and it was during their time that the west wing was added. In the early 1500s, the castle's fortifications were expanded, and 4 round towers were built. The original watchtower was also transformed into a panoramic tower, offering sweeping views of the surrounding area. A major transformation took place in 1549, when Maret Castle was renovated into a stylish Renaissance residence, complete with more frescoes. During this period, the castle became a gathering spot for nobles who had embraced Protestantism, with the owner at that time, Lucas Römer, commissioning frescoes that reflected the intellectual and philosophical currents of the day. After the death of the last Römer heir, the castle passed through a few hands, first to the Händel family, then to the Thun family. The Thuns held on to it until 1851, when Countess Anna von Sarnstein bought the property and leased it to the state, which used the castle as an arsenal for a time. Fast forward to 1919, and Maret Castle became the state archive, serving that purpose until 1973. Then, in 1974, the city of Bolzano took ownership, transforming the castle into a conference center and cultural venue. A major restoration took place in 2003-2004. Since 2007, it has been managed by the Castles of Bolzano Foundation. Today, Maret Castle, also known as Schloss Maretsch in German and Castle Mareccio in Italian, stands in the heart of Bolzano, South Tyrol, northern Italy. Unlike many castles, it is not a fortress but a grand residence. The oldest part of the building dates back to the 13th century, but the castle we see today was shaped by the Filer family, who gave its Renaissance makeover between 1560 and 1570. Surrounded by a picturesque vineyard and offering great views of Mount Catenaccio, Maret Castle is located in the Centropiani district, just a short walk from the Lungo Talvera promenade and Talvera meadows. The oldest part of the castle is a tower built in 1194 by Berthold von Maretsch, originally a defensive structure amidst the vineyards. Over the centuries, the castle changed hands, with different owners adding to its structure. By the 13th and 14th centuries, the defensive corridor and crenellations were put in place. In 1477, Sigmund Römer bought the castle and began the extensive renovations that would transform it into the Renaissance-style building we know today. This included the addition of 4 round towers and frescoes that depicted some of the great thinkers of the time. In the 1980s, the castle was restored again, but it is no longer a private residence. These days, Maret Castle is a popular venue for events like fairs, concerts, weddings, and the renowned Bolzano wine tasting held each spring. Visitors can easily reach the castle from Bolzano's historic town center, just a few minutes walk from Piazza della Vittoria, where there's plenty of parking. I highly recommend visiting Maret Castle. The castle is very beautiful, and for me it is a must visit if you visit Bolzano, and especially if you are interested in history. You can enter the castle. It costs you a couple of euros, but I think it is well worth the visit. And also, if you arrive by foot, which I did, you are going to see some great views of the city. The city center of Bolzano is a very beautiful city center. It is small, but old and full of history. And there is so much to see in the city center, just within a couple of minutes walk. For example, I also recommend that you visit the Franciscan monastery of Bolzano that lies close to the castle. I was surprised that it was not more people that visited the castle when I was there. I basically had a whole castle for myself. This is the closest that I will ever come to ever own my own castle. I was simply not born into a royal or bourgeois family. Visiting the castle was a great experience. I felt that it was well kept but still untouched. This castle had so much to tell me, and I was impressed by it, even if it is a small castle. I can easily have this castle as my nearest neighbor and wake up every morning and sit and watch it while I have my morning coffee. I truly hope that the castle is well kept in the future. It is important to save this kind of old castles to our future generations. In that way, we keep history alive. Some people don't like old buildings, but they serve a purpose to enlighten and educate us. Do you agree? Over the course of time, so much has happened in this castle and the surrounding areas that is interesting. It is not only about which rich person that has lived in the castle, it is also about the local population and how they lived and their daily struggles. Often, when we talk about history, we talk about major events that has shaped our history, but there is so much else to talk about also. Leave a comment if you agree, or maybe consider like or subscribe. If you like more history-related content, or content related to the history of Bolzano or Italy, you are very welcome to check out my other videos on my channel. And thank you for watching.